and welcome to another speed run. Sorry about the delay, been pretty busy. We're having a look at the rating range 1600 to 1800, so we're making very good progress. I'm going to try to identify typical mistakes that our opponents are making and give you tips on how to just move up the rating range. So my opponent has played the England Gambit. Now, I've commentated a lot about lines like this in the past, and I think if it's okay to play trappy lines a little bit, but the rule is that at some point as soon as you lose one or two games to them, you have to give them up. The only trap worth remembering is bishop b4 here is winning after bishop c3, but if you move the knight to this square, as far as I can remember, black is in a lot of trouble and has to give up the queen here. And this is supposed to be a very good variation for white. I don't know the next move, so I'm just trying to remember it. Is it possibly knight here? And this makes a lot of sense. And maybe now I just take here. And how does this now end up? So if I move the rook, my opponent has to move the king, I guess. And again, you know, I know this is a very bad line from my opponent, but I've got to work it out over the board. But it's not a good way to improve your chess, even if you get the odd win in this by playing these trappy lines in general. It's just not a good idea because you're not going to benefit in the long run. Saying that, my opponent might be okay, I don't know here, with this kind of move. So how do I play this position? It's a bit harder than I expected to win, because if I take here, my opponent moves the king there, then I've got two pieces on pre. So I'm trying to work this out on the fly. We'll have a look at this afterwards so I know exactly how to refute this line. But I suppose I'm just going to play sensible moves for now. And now this check here at some point seems tempting. Do I play this now? Then my opponent develops. So it's not as easy as I had expected this. So I'm going to go back to simple developing moves because I can't see a way to refute my opponent's play immediately here, which is a bit frustrating. So I haven't picked the right line, but I'm just talking about long-term development. You know, play openings that are going to help you long-term, I think, is much more important. But now that I don't know what the material balance is, I'm only one pawn down, but I've certainly got the initiative, so I want to keep playing aggressively in this position. And I want to get my bishop to this square, and I want to keep creating threats, and I think that's very important. If you ever sacrifice a pawn, I mean, even though I haven't found the refutation, this still looks very dangerous for my opponent. And even though I haven't found the complete refutation, I'm just going to play moves. Okay, I give up a pawn, my bishop can drop back, gives me f4, and I should still have a good initiative here. Maybe it's not as strong as I had hoped. Okay, so do we? Yeah, because we might have to start coming backwards now. Okay, not the end of the world. My development is still very good. I don't think, again, I've taken the best of this, but I'll have a look at it afterwards. And again, the other thing is, if you're ever surprised by an opening when you're playing Blitz, you know, what is this move? This seems like a mistake here. I'm going to castle. What am I missing? He wants some trick with this. Don't really believe this move. Maybe it's a very good move, but I'm just going to go here and see what he's doing. He can't lose time when you're so much tempo down, I feel. Maybe this is his idea. I mean, it's interesting. But yeah, I mean, if you're ever shocked by an opening and you're not sure what to do, as I am here, then a simple rule, and he's really going for some very aggressive play here. But let's just keep it sensible and move this knight in so we stop the queen coming here. Make sure you have a look at the game afterwards and you know how to deal with it in future games. So that's what I'm going to do at the end of this video, I think, because I don't want to waste time in the speedrun video by doing it here. But I will make sure I don't fall into these lines in the future. Okay, so he's sacrificing. He's really going for it. And we're going to have to take it. And now if I move the king, he's got check, but I should get a lot of pieces for this. Let's see. Interesting play. And we've got three. It's a really bizarre position, this, but I've got great development, and I think his initiative should run out soon, right? I mean, he's only got his queen he's playing with, so why should it work so scarily? Okay, now it's my turn, and I'm going to start having some fun because my pieces are all perfectly placed. I'm playing much more long-term chess in the fact I'm developing. I'm just doing standard things. I'm going for the initiative. All my pieces are coordinating, so things should work for me. But quite a fascinating game, this, saying all that. Doesn't this just lose? We can take here and it's checkmate next move. So in the end, it was a 23-24 move victory. But I will... Let's just have a very quick look now, shall we? If we can. I don't know if we can because I'm on the free mode. I'm such a cheapskate. Let's have a very quick look at what the winning move is here. So rook d1 is the winning move, king d8, and then what should I play here? So this is very good, and let's go back to that. So just so if I get this again, I know exactly what I'm doing. So sorry, hopefully I know you can't see the position totally. So rook d1 was right, king d8, and now e6 is a great move, and knight g5. Okay. That's very nice to know. So if I ever get that again, I should be able to crush it with a winning advantage for white. So all I'm going to say is, those trappy openings, you can play them a bit, but for long-term development, you need to have opening systems. I've got white again here, so I'm going to try to play the Chessbrah of London. You need to have long-term systems that will help you learn positional chess, all areas of chess, not just relying on traps. Okay, have fun with them now and again, but not for the long term. So I'm going to play the Chessbrah of London. We should know this by now. The 3-step stage is this. I've just brought out a book on this as well. I've got a Chessbrah course, a GingerGM course, only £20, and a book. So however you like learning the Chessbrah of London, there's something for you there. So this is the first step. And the next step is, well, I'm going to play e3 and try to think about how to get these pieces out. And one of the reasons I love the Chessbrah of London is it's very simple. My next step, I used to recommend f3 and g4 here, but the modern way to play this, which I'm going to include in my future GingerGM second course, is by bringing the knight to this square first. I like this because it's very, very sound developing moves. The knight is very good here in all London systems, and this g4 idea now means I don't have to play f3, and f3 weakens my position a little bit, and I prefer having a knight in the centre of the board. In these structures, and I think in my last speedrun video we had exactly the same thing as this occur there. So this is a common trap, but this is a trap unlike what my opponent played in the last game that has positional sense behind it, meaning that even if the trap doesn't work, I'm playing good moves that help my position anyway. And the idea of this now is that we go h4, and h5 is trying to trap the bishop here, and my opponent is in quite a lot of trouble. There's not really any great way to do this, because if he moves his h-pawn to give the bishop a square, then I can take the bishop, and this way his bishop should be, in my eyes, trapped. I mean, if I take here, aren't I just trapping his bishop? So I'm playing a trap here, but again, unlike the last game, all my moves would be very logical. I'm developing my pieces, I'm getting into the game, I'm doing very sensible moves that only help my position, unlike the England gambit, which is relying on 1 or 2 traps, otherwise you're a pawn down for nothing. So you can't play it in tournament play. And here, this is a standard idea, as we see in the Chessbrah of London, and you can see that my position is very, very nice here. I'm a piece up. Okay, so I'm now going to just think about the best way to try and win this, and maybe g5 is an option here. So I'm going to go queen d2 just to defend e3, and at the same time I'm getting ready to castle queenside. My opponent's castled that way, very, very dangerous move. I could go queen h2, h6 and take there now. Pawn takes, queen takes, and am I just checkmating him there? It looks like a vicious attack. The other move is to increase the firepower first, which also looks winning to me. But let's go for the most violent way, because I'm already a piece up, so I can have some luxury now of giving that piece back if I need to. So I'm just going to go for checkmate. So the idea is, yes, when this pawn moves, I'm going to take it and open up his king, and we're just going to go for checkmate with my bishop coming in. He might better survive, but I should have a big attack however he plays this position. Maybe, I don't know which was better. I mean, I could have gone for the slower approach, but obviously the game should have been won by now. I can't relax. I still got to watch out for his threats. I've been watching out that his bishop there is attacking the pawn. So I'm defending threats and improving my position. That's what chess is about. You know, do the logic. Okay, this move should definitely not work. Worst case scenario, we can win the second pawn. And I think this is the simple way to play. And I should be looking for checkmate now. I've got a rule when you're attacking in chess, if you can't find a win with your active pieces, I've just highlighted them, and there's no immediate win I can see. Obviously bishop takes pawn is a great move, but have a look at bringing in your reinforcements, and this bishop has a great way in here, and I'm going to bring in this bishop, and now I am threatening checkmate, starting with my bishop coming here, forcing my opponent's king into the corner. This is where tactical vision, I'm not an amazing tactician, but I've trained my tactics, meaning that I've played loads and loads and loads of games where I see certain patterns, and I've also looked at loads and loads of certain puzzles. And now I'm defending his king escape here and his checkmate next move. So looking at standard, you know, any kind of puzzles is going to help you, because you'll spot tactics. That's what I was trying to say as we go on. So that was quite a smooth victory. What did my opponent do wrong there? The opening, he moved a bit quick. He didn't know what to do in a standard opening idea, and it was really lost there. In the first game, my opponent played the England gambit, and I knew what to do, so his position may have been okay at one stage, but he was always under some initiative. Okay, my opponent's withdrawn there. Withdrawn, whatever the bloody hell it is. I should have played a move. I'm getting all whites today, so that's maybe good in a way. And now my opponent is offering me a Karakan, but yet again, I'm going to stick to Chessbrah London. I think it's a great opening at this rating range. It's a great opening at all rating range, but you can use the Chessbrah London all the way up to 2000 because it has simple principles, and that's why I want to stick to it for the time being. Stage 1. Okay, now when the bishop comes here, what do we do next? Well, I like playing this pawn here because my bishop can come out, but we've already seen what I do next, right? I can start going g4 and h4 even here, but the idea of developing a piece, which is a good thing, and potentially putting it into the middle of the board has got to be a good idea. Now, how do we meet this move? Now, the standard way of meeting this move is with the knight here. We've got to watch out that a check doesn't do us too much damage. So here, check c3 looks fine. And this is guarding against his one threat, but doing it again. I like guarding and creating tempos. And look, there we go. We've gained a tempo against his queen. And here we go. We gained another tempo. I know this idea because I created this Chessbrah London course. My opponent is blundering straight away. Everyone's falling totally to the Chessbrah London. And I know these typical opening ideas. Again, if you'd want to learn an opening, just learn the typical opening ideas. And then you should be able to get very easy play in the start. We don't have to think as much as you might have to in other openings. And that was a 9-move win. Okay, so we're 1660. We've got someone much higher rated now. Let's go to the Black Line. And another book of mine that's just come out, bloody hell, I've been busy, is on the Black Line. And again, we've looked at this. The first stage is this idea, stage 1. You put your knights like this, nice and snug in front of your position, and you try to get the space with the pawn coming to this square. Stage 1 done. We obviously have to look at how our opponent's developing. He's pinning our knight, but I'm not really worried about that because I can chase it away or even just block the pin. It doesn't seem to do much, this pin. I'm going to break the pin and get ready to castle in certain needs. The Black Line proper is where you go h6 and g5, but with the bishop on this square, it's not always, there's other options, and I might go for a more standard kind of Petrov kind of thing. Now, the next stage of the Black Line I like doing, and I don't think this makes much difference. The only thing is my opponent never has ideas of the knight coming here, which can be quite dangerous. The next thing I like doing is playing c6, queen c7 often. Why? This pawn defends a lot of squares, and if queen c7, then I defend that central pawn. But with the bishop here, things have changed a little bit. Now, I could go for the standard h6, g5 stuff, but I'm actually just going to go for a more... I'm going to hopefully win this game without doing anything dramatic. And I'm going to castle, and this is about finding mistakes in our opponent's play. And often I've won most of my games in this whole speedrun series by not doing anything. And now I want to think how I can improve my pawns and my pieces. And I know with the bishop here, a very tempting idea is this move. And again, this is a standard idea that I know from knowing the opening well. Because he swaps off my bishop, which was a little bit cramped. I've got a more cramped position, so I'm happy to exchange. But my knight now has this idea of coming into this square. Forcing g3, which weakens his light squares over there. The one thing you have to watch out for here, though, is any problems with this kind of thing. So I could go g6 now. I'll probably have to play it later anyway, so I'm going to do it here. I don't mind making dark squared weaknesses because he doesn't have a dark squared bishop anymore to attack them. And now that he's put his king on this side of the board, I really should think about attacking on that area. b5 would be normal. The only thing I have to little bit work out is what if d5, trying to undermine these pawns. So we need to do a bit of calculation. If I go b4, he takes, and I open up his king. I don't care any more than that. I'm not going to calculate any more. If he doesn't go d5, I'm going to continue my pawn storm. My king side looks very safe at the moment. If he goes g4, my knight comes in. He hasn't got a typical pawn storm. He hasn't got a typical way to attack me. And I've got a typical way to improve the attack on that area by shoving the a-pawn up the board. The only line I wanted to... Okay, so what's he trying to do? Remember, when your opponent plays a move, always try to work out what they're trying to do. He wants to go queen here and knight here. Crafty move. Now, I could try to meet that by bringing my knight around like this. That makes a lot of sense. Or I could move my queen here as well, so I attack his knight. Both of these look very nice ideas to me. The knight coming here, he'd go h3 to stop my knight coming here. Does that help me? And he still wants to go here. I can move my king and come back, get a very solid defensive setup. And then I've got my king side. I'm going to go for this one. My first idea is I've got knight g4. I'm directly working against my opponent's attacking ideas. If he plays this, then I wanted to put my king here. Two reasons. If his queen comes in, I've got knight g8. And I'm trying to work directly against that. And the other thing is I get out the range of his bishop, which I feel could be useful. Maybe a little bit over safe, but I think as long as I deal with his threats over there, I basically stop and attack, stop and attack. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to work out everything he's doing over here, stopping those plans, and then I'm going to slowly attack. Any threats here? There is actually. I missed this one. He's playing very well. He's attacking this pawn. And this is something I have to admit I did miss. Now, do I have to play rook here? I'm kind of like wondering if... yeah, okay, so I think I'm okay, but he is keeping up these threats. He's keeping up the pressure against my position. So I have to admit, he does seem to be playing very well in this game. And his queen is quite nastily placed. I mean, I just want to get this move in, get this pawn going, and I can create some opportunities myself. But he has played this idea of bringing the queen in very good. Okay, so now he's looking at bringing his rooks, doubling his rooks. Okay, but there's no immediate threat, so I've got to get my idea going. I've got to create a threat. So I'm going to now create a threat, winning his bishop. Okay, now I can kick that knight away to a worse square. And that knight is now away. Does it have a good route in? Well, maybe, but I can now take here. And after the queen's come off, he has a check, but my king can come up. And I feel that's okay, but maybe I keep this threat alive. Do we keep the threat alive or do we do it straight away? What do we play here? Bishop here also. Okay, maybe we have to calculate. Takes, I think we go for it, right? Because when his rook comes here, I have bishop b7. It seems quite sensible, but at the end, he does have rook e1 when my knight comes here, and things start to fold as well. I think I'm going to move this bishop. My opponent playing well, because I want to... I want to keep this threat here alive, because if I'd taken that... Okay, now he's missed it. Now I can take here safely, because he doesn't have rook d8 at the end, which he had in the other variation. He's not... What he's doing, he's playing... This guy's playing very well at seeing his own ideas, but he's not looking quite deep enough at my ideas. And this is a common mistake at the much higher rating level at 1852. I've got to play very quickly here. 1852, very strong player, but his ideas have been very good, right? Bringing the queen in, trying to attack me, trying to double rooks, but he hasn't been looking at my ideas, like just simply winning a pawn. Now he has to give up the exchange. I don't think there's any way to stop that because his rook was trapped. I'm going to bring my rooks into the middle of the board, improve their placement. He's threatening to take this pawn. I'm going to simply push this pawn. Now if he comes here, he does actually, have I just blundered? Why didn't he come into e5? Okay, he's attacking this pawn. Let's deal with that threat. Again, I've got to watch my time. Now I'm defending this pawn. I want to kick his knights away. If I move this pawn, he might have knight e6 at some point, but I can defend it with rook d6. What you need to do when you... Okay, but now I have to play it immediately. If he comes in here, I can take it immediately, and then I take his knight, but I've got to watch out for this move. But what I'm trying to do here, I'm trying to push his knights away. When your opponent's knights come into your position, you've got to push him away. So here we go. I'm going to use my king. I'm going to cover that square. I'm covering and attacking. And then now I can push him backwards. That knight now has to go back. I can push forwards, taking more squares from his knights away. This move would be a bit annoying. I'm not playing very well in this game, I have to admit, but it should be good enough. He needs to play this move to break me down and try to get his knights to life again. I shouldn't have allowed this. I should have come back. Again, when I get a bit short of time, I play much badly. I'm getting my excuses in. But if you've seen any of my streams, you know I don't need excuses. I'm still at the exchange up here, and a pawn, so it should be winning, even if he's able to activate his knight a little bit. It's not that scary. I do have the bishop. Okay, I'm very happy to exchange in general, because when your point's up, exchanges are good. I'm going to defend that pawn over there. Don't want him winning a pawn for free. Is he coming back? Is he being annoying? Am I covering? Okay, I'm going to come back and see if there's another way. Okay, if he ever takes that pawn, do I have... Okay, a rook coming somewhere. Okay, I'm going to go here with the idea if he takes that pawn, I'm going to go here and take here. So now he defends it. Okay, he's been still very, very tricky. And we have to go back here again. And he's got the same idea. I'm going to now come here. And I'm going to take this one off because I'm going to leave him with this very bad piece. That knight might have been an easier way to win, but I'm getting shorter of time. Okay, now we can certainly take this one. My knight is a bad piece. Let's move it back around. As long as I leave him with this bad knight, it should be easily winning. And remember, I am a pawn up, so I've exchanged off my... I mean, what I've done there, I could have maybe tried to hang on to my material, but I've gone for a very practical decision of basically just swapping off his best pieces that were annoying me. It's as simple as that. Some of his pieces were annoying me, so I've simply got rid of those pieces, so I don't have to calculate anything when I'm short of time. Good blitz practice. And okay, I should have watched that pawn. I'm just going to cover it now so it doesn't get any scary, and this pawn is not going to be stopped. So whatever he does, here it comes, and we'll finish this game off. Okay, right, I think we're going to leave it there for now. I'm going to just do a bit more shorter videos. I hope you learned something there. I think my opponent played very well there, but his key mistake there, I mean, he's clearly a good player because he saw some excellent ideas of bringing the queen in and going for pressure. But his big mistake was when he had done all these moves, which he may have been doing well here even, as soon as I started to pressurize him, this is a natural move, as soon as I started to pressurize him, his position collapsed. Now, I might have even been able to play b4 earlier. But the big thing was here, I gave him another chance to defend this pawn by moving my bishop, because had I taken here straight away, there's some lines where the rook comes with check, and here he should be really looking at my pieces, looking at what I'm trying to do. And had he played a move simply to defend that pawn, it's game on. You know, after he played his next move, it's effectively over this game. His position is effectively completely lost. So it's getting to the mind of your opponent's ideas, openings, making sure you are very aware of what the ideas are and the openings you play. They don't have to be complex. Remember to defend against your opponent's ideas, but only in a positive way. Try not to play trappy stuff unless the trappy stuff improves your position overall. And I think the first couple of games proved that. And finally, remember to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Cheers for now.